down by $5,500. Parking lot revenue were down by $41,800. Parking meters was down by $16,600, and miscellaneous down $11,300. Building permits down $13,300. Those are October numbers because those are the only numbers that we have. But that's $116,000 lower. We don't know if we're going to make that or we're not. The next thing that's real important for you to know is that there is not one auditorium expense in this budget. So are we going to lock the doors and turn off the lights and shut off the phones? Because there's nothing in the budget for it. If you don't do that, that's $72,000, and you're going to have to cut expenses somewhere else to do it. What I'm telling you is there needs to be a lot more work done on this. This is something you need to know for sure, and the new council too. The income from 2010 budget to 2011 budget, the income is estimated at a 5% decrease. Okay, but there's also built in here a 2% COLA raise. The mayor's office is down by 1%, but the finance department is up by 6%. Police department's down less than 1%. Municipal court's up 4%. Fire department's up 3%. So the bottom line says we're going to come out about $2,000 to the good, but how can you have a 5% decrease in revenue and almost everybody expenses increase? Someplace we're going to have to say no. $70,000 was put into lot fee, and we don't know really if this is correct and if this is legal or if anything can be done about it. We've really not been given an answer about that. We don't know if we're going to have parking lot income around the courthouse. That's on our agenda today, but it's not reflected in here. I don't know. We've not even looked at the capital budget, so that's a whole nother issue. And I really have a trouble with the land bank. In my October budget, the land bank money has still not been put in to its fund. So those are just the issues that I have. I just really think it needs another budget meeting to hash this out and to answer these questions before something can be approved. I think that if we approve it like this, then a new council without training is going to say, okay, we're good, and let it go. And I don't think that's right.
To clarify one statement that you made, your land bank, you voted to put a line item. You never voted to put any money in it. That's why there's not anything in it. You have to vote to put money into it. Ms. Schneider?
We did put money
No,
into
you
it.
didn't. You didn't vote to do it.
It's on the budget.
You've
You
never
have
voted
to vote
put
to
money
do
in
it. You never did it.
There's never a motion to do that.
No.
There was discussion, but there never was a motion.
Ms. Schneider?
Okay, pretty much what you're saying is probably, at least in the ballpark. The thing is, this is our budget, our 2 years' experience, our knowledge, our duty to get this done and finished by the end of our term, so the new council, who basically isn't going to know squat, has time to breathe, to learn, to ask questions, to research, spend lots of hours researching and doing, and they can then make changes as they see fit and as they need to. This is our job to do right now. This is part of what we were elected for. This is what we need to do tonight. They can toy with it and tinker all they want after January 1. I would rather give them a working budget that they can then tinker with at their leisure than leave them hanging like this happened 4 years ago. I watched that fiasco. No, not nice, not fair, not right. We need to put our big girl panties on and deal. It may not be perfect, but boy, it gives them a good beginning.
Mr. Bremer?
In the capital funds available for 2011 is The budget set on the cemetery and parks actually being built into that.
No. Capital has not even been discussed.
So, well, I've got the general capital infrastructure for parks, surveillance cameras, and then in-town trails, totaling $25,000. Cemeteries wanting a riding lawnmower. Another one, we just gave them a brand new one 3 years ago. Computer's okay, but signs for the cemetery for $2,500. They're asking for this stuff, but none of it's. We haven't. I was absent for the budget meeting that we had, so were these addressed then or not?
No, they weren't. They are included in the budget, however, you all have the,
They're actually included. If we pass this,
right.
they'll get what
but
they want.
Well, it's appropriated for
Okay.
that.
Well, I'm not actually.
But you all can make whatever changes you need to on there.
This is not the recommendations that came from the administration. This is what each separate commission has asked for.
Okay. Window area units is fine. Fire station and pumper truck loans fine. Passenger vehicle for transit's fine. Riding lawnmower, considering the fact that I think we just gave them 10 grand or 15 grand for a brand new one 3 years ago, is absolutely not acceptable. The computer and signs, I suppose that's okay. The general capital infrastructure, what the heck is that? Surveillance cameras for $5 grand for parks. That a little. I'm not sure what we could do for that, but I think we might want to cut some of this, and that'll be reflected in this if we cut those.
We can reduce it.
Okay.
I would cut out under the mayor's office those 2 window units until you find out what's going to happen with the courthouse and the parking lot. I wouldn't spend another dollar on it, and that'll be up to the next
Well,
council.
wouldn't that be you asking for the units though? For me?
Yeah, but I wouldn't do it. I mean, at this
Okay.
point, I wouldn't put it in there, not until they know what happens, and that'll be on the next council.
Okay. If we cut riding lawnmower, do you guys want to cut that or keep that? Is it appropriate
Is
for me
this
to
something
ask
we have
them?
to decide
capital.
before we
He's,
can do our
he's on
resolution?
capital.
It's a capital expenditure. It's not in this budget.
Right.
This-
These
yeah,
are
it's in
separate
the budget.
items.
Yes, it is.
It's in the budget.
It's under capital
It's
fund.
appropriated. If they approve this, it's appropriated.
Well, I don't approve that. That's what I'm saying. Is like you guys got to either accept it or reject it because
The cemetery
we-
commission bought a new lawnmower 3 years ago.
yeah, it was
We
like,
gave them the money, $10,000 to buy a new lawnmower, and now they're asking for $11,000 for another new one.
I'm sorry, but that's
In
ridiculous.
3 years?
Yes. No. I
What
accepted it.
happened to it? Are they driving it over rocks or something? A $10,000 lawnmower doesn't break down in 3 years.
I would hope not.
I've had the same one for 12.
Yeah, really?
They have dogs.
I mean, can I ask the council's opinion as far as for cemetery?
No, you can make a statement, and you have to address the chair, and then they say what they need to.
I guess I'd like to make a motion to strike the riding lawnmower from cemetery commission's budget out of capital expenditures.
I would second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to strike that. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Go ahead.
I'd also like to make a motion to strike general capital infrastructure and surveillance cameras from parks expenditures for capital funds.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Is there a second?
What is general capital infrastructure?
You're going to have to ask them.
Well, how can you strike something? You don't know what it is.
I'm giving them the in-town trails contingent on a grant.
There's a motion on the table. Is there a second?
I don't know what we're talking about. I'm lost.
Okay, motion fails. Ms. Blankenship?
I don't believe that any of the department heads knew that we would be going over their capital budgets tonight.
Yes,
and
they
they're
did.
not here to talk about it. We didn't talk about the capital budget at the last budget meeting. Actually, we didn't talk about very much at all because each department head came in and talked. And if we had specific questions about their general line items, we could ask questions there, but we didn't get to income, we didn't get to capital, and it was over.
Correction, we did get to capital. We discussed the fire, or the, let's see,
An ambulance
the ambulance.
replacement.
In fact, we discussed that at length. And then we did talk about the, Earl talked about the car for the police department. The only other thing that's on here, which we talked about the pumper truck loan. The only other thing is with transit, the 12-passenger van, the $7,000 is the match for the grant, and the rest is parks and cemetery. So that actually clears it up, and the department heads did know that this would be talked about tonight. Ms. Zeller?
Does the finance director have any comments to make about so far the discussion, especially Beverly's comments? Do you have any comment to make about this budget and how it's going to work?
Well, a budget is a roadmap. You know, it's to get us from one point A to point B and a start. And as was mentioned before, it